crack cocaine. Black people. And cocaine, it was the same thing. When white people were using it, you got 1 year. It just got changed to 16 and 1, by the way, by Barack Obama. I mean, I'm not saying he's the best or whatever. It should have been 1 and 1 because it's the same thing. But here are the dynamics, guys. So now, from about 200,000 to 2.3 million people from the 80s up to 2000. 2.3 million people are locked up today. 5 million people are on probation. 70 million people have criminal records. If you have a criminal record, right, 70 million, you can be discriminated against from housing. You can be pulled over and asked questions. Jobs. If you have a criminal record, you can be arrested again. You're gonna be bothered. So what happens? You struggle. You go into this low class. Scientifically proven that every race commits crime at the same rate. But if we're implemented in our minds that black people are bad, the darker your skin is, the worse person you are, and that's what's implemented in our minds, then we have this automatic bias. Trust me, I had it too. I would look at another black person and think the same thing. I had to change myself and think why did I feel so anxious around black people? I had to ask myself that. And I'm black. So once I started doing this, I'm like, yo, scientifically, this was made a specific way. There's no way. So I started to go up to, so I asked one of the homies, right? He did 20 years, he has his master's degree, you know what I mean? He's out, he's amazing, he's doing a lot of work all throughout the community. I asked him one day, I said, look, when you go inside of an elevator and you see a white person, what's the first thing you do? You smile, how you doing? Maybe shake your hand if you don't got COVID. Hopefully you don't got COVID. But when you see a black person, what do you do? I was like, look at that. We're messed up. Ourselves. We're infiltrated. Our minds are. Look at our music industries. Drugs. Talks about fighting and killing. Do we want that for our kids? Do I want that to have a 3-year-old daughter? Do I want that for my daughter? No. There's a control on the music industry. There's experts. These people, they smart. So, now we're going back to the houses that were given to the suburbs. Remember how I said that, right? Who's here with me? Who's here with me? Y'all with me? The suburbs. $14,000, $15,000 back then. The equity climbed up to $300,000, $400,000. Now you got generational wealth. Am I right? So what happens to the people in the communities that were infested? They live in the, they got the, y'all can hear me? Is this working? Hello? Okay. Y'all can hear me too? All right, good.
Take off the mask when you're speaking into the megaphone. It helps us.
Hello? See, I don't know, I'm not trying to get y'all sick. All right, so check this out, right? So the people in the communities now, they're stuck. It's hard. The houses are deteriorating. The kids are getting sick, asthma. So when you go to the public schools in these communities that are underfunded, now the kids, black kids, are tired because their parents have to work hard, and they have that because the houses were deteriorating. They could get sick and catch asthma, and they're tired. But it seems like they're not focusing, right? So what happens now? What happens? You get, hey, go to the corner, right? But anybody, and this is, look, with all due respect, when you're white, hey, are you okay? Are you okay? Is everything fine? But if you're black, why are you sleeping in class? They don't ask you about your life. They don't ask you about what's going on at home. And you don't want to feel embarrassed. Because in school, the second they bring you in there in 6th grade, right? What do they teach you? About slavery? Not in an apologetic way either. They don't say, oh, we messed up. Nah, we did this. This is what we did. Yeah, we did this. And then we know, right? Alexander the Great. Who knows Alexander the Great? We know Napoleon, right? Okay. So we know all these people. Who knows Mansa Musa? Nobody. Mansa Musa was the most wealthiest man on this planet to this day from Africa. So, our textbooks, right, were written
So we are told that there is white supremacist views. These are our leaders in a way, even if they're wrong. We're taught about Hitler. We're not taught about any other kings of color at all. Okay, now this is how I'm gonna look at it, right? During the slave trade, people talk about, come on, slavery so long ago. Cut it out. Tired of it. These 100 years or whatever, however long it was, millions of people died on these ships. Died. Either on there, defecating on themselves, got sick because of how long the trip was, or they had to jump off. Some of them, they gave their babies over. They were like, yo, I don't want my child to live like this. And killed themselves. So then, they come over here and they strip you of you. They strip you of everything. Then you fight in this army and you get released. But then you don't got no land. So this right here, when we're calling it racism, it's not a social thing. It was never a social thing. It was never, I don't like you. It was never, you don't like me. That's not racism. That's prejudice. Racism is a structure. When everything is enabled for you, but it's not for me. When education is enabled for you, and it's not for me. When your jobs are enabled for you, but it's not for me, or him, or her, anybody. You guys understand what this is? That's racism. That's structural racism. That's institutional racism. And then, you'd be like, black people don't do good. Guys, natives and blacks put this country and the economy where it belongs. And instead of those people that had the philanthropy and all the people that have all that money and thinking that they really got it, that's not your money, man. That is not your wealth. Instead of giving it back to the communities that you were taking it from, that you sent militant people to make them look bad. And then, I mean, what do you expect? If you don't have nothing, you're gonna get it. If your kids are hungry, you're gonna get it. America ain't broke, man. We ain't running out of money. So why can't we give it to them? But oh, you got food stamps. But what happens when you make so much money? They take your food stamps away. So you don't work, so you can feed your kids. It's messed up. It's literally created to the T like this. We have the most imprisoned people in the world. Guys, this is what racism is. We all don't have the same opportunities. I'm from Ethiopia originally. I came over here, and my parents used to look at me every single day, like, why aren't you, like, up here? Come on, you gotta work hard. Our lives are hard. You guys grew up in this country. I'm like, you don't understand, Mom. You don't understand, Dad. They're like, no, it's you. Look at those kids. They're better. Right? And I had to kind of distance myself and protect myself. But at the same time, I understood they were going through a lot, too. Parents are going through a lot. They are. So when you finally grow up and you're like, all right, let me find my way, and you're in high school and stuff, there's a school-to-prison pipeline. First off, why is there a pipeline in the first place? That shouldn't even exist. That tells you something. But a school-to-prison pipeline. I went to the juvenile facility at the age of 16. And then I went there at 17. And I stayed there for 18 months of my life. During those 18 months, I was actually, when I first got there, I was pretty happy. I was like, I could sleep. I could rest. I'm tired. Black people are tired, bro. That's the first thing. I was tired. But as soon as I came in there, I noticed a different sense of trauma. When you're confined in a space, when you're told when to shower, when you have tall white men that are really big, that's walking you. This isn't in a school. The governor said it was a school the other day on the radio. I'm like, come on, stop playing with me. This ain't no school. It's a prison. It's a jail. And they said, oh, your record is sealed. When you get out, no, it's not. It's a lie. I'm telling you this. This is from what I'm telling you. I witnessed this. So I got my GED at 17. I started going to college while I was in there. Had straight A's, 3.9 GPA. I got into a theater group. And then I started doing theater about my problems, about my lives, and then about the lives of my colleagues and everybody that was in there. People were amazed. They were like, yo, what the hell is going on? These kids are harmed. Don't look at a child when he's breaking in the end. Look at the 20 times you weren't there for him. Don't look at him in the end. Don't do that. That's not what you do. So what happened was, after I came out, we started doing these more theater performances in front of 500 people up to 1,000 people. We went to the State House and went to Washington D.C. We're performing in front of the Senate of the United States, and they saw that. Started doing workshops with colleges, and there was a lot of people that was wondering, like, why these kids are just like this. Why are they like this? And not in this institutional way, right? So come around when Black Lives Matter hit and all of this happened, and I got all these phone calls and emails, and they're like, we understand now. Oh, 7 years later, I'm tired. But we understand now. People are starting to understand. People are starting to see through the peaks. When I say 70 million, that's about 25% of the people in this country have a criminal record. 25%. Tell me 25% of the people are bad? We have the most cops. We have the most depression. We have the most mental health issues. We have the most prescription use. We have the most issues. We're the greatest country when it comes to this because we're bullies. But we don't have communities. We don't have care. We don't have support. We don't have understanding. We don't have reconciliation. We don't have giving back. We don't have none of this. Mental health facilities are getting shut down. Like, that's the problem. We're losing our human nature, and we're getting to systems. And these systems of oppression. I'm gonna just say a poem and then just close it all out. All right. Am I boring you guys? No. Y'all sure? Don't go to sleep on me now. How do you guys want chess game or concept of blame?
Concept.
All right.
Chess game!
The system was built to structure a game, a concept of blame, on one's actions to shame, to get what they want from man to flame, and fuel this ongoing chain of sequence. It's business. As soon as someone says you did it, you're finished. No ifs, ands, or buts. It's written. Going through an adequate process of innocent until proven guilty. It's inadequate. It's lawless. It's a movement that's so filthy. You lied to before and after that courtroom. From the lawyer of the day that was fed with a silver spoon to the judge that was taught in classrooms with forefathers that had slaves called coons. As soon as you feel that metal on, you're doomed. It's a power strike from them upon to you. Now you hear your daughter's voice on the phone saying come home. You're in yourself sad, cold, and all alone. That emotional abuse shot right to the dome as you hear the screams of displeasures, not of moans. See, they want you to admit to shit. They're set on a script from a team of cops that sit and choose you from a list. Oh, he said this and your description may fit. So they make it look guarantee on paper that you're it. But what I don't get is, if they're innocent, why lock them up in a cage until proven otherwise? The circumstances tell me different, so please justify. Locked from wrists to ankles, kind of like the slaves when they were told to walk on the ship in shankles. No options to walk on the plank though. Only the strong survive while being strangled. Kind of like the deaths in prisons, so dismantled. Or when cops kill blacks as reruns scramble. Singing songs while we holding lit candles. But we protest wrong, so we get handled. We're brainwashed. I don't listen to what weird talk, cause poison has been filled through earshot. From a slave master to a badge and a gun. From a runaway slave to fleeing and run. I was always taught that white men love to hunt, but never imagined killing just for fun. Is it a hobby? Kind of like selling slaves to the auctions in the lobby, or how the bails and the bonds be. They take you from your homes, they take you from your jobs, they take you from your community, they take you for their cause. We ask them to ponder, to realize their flaws, but the fear of the system have them sitting in awe. See, that's why depression is so high in America. Because your brains are eating at you with terror, huh? 2.5 million are locked up in this country. That's 35% of the world, man. How funny. And they say you're wrong. They say you broke the law thinking you're a dummy. It's illegal to breathe wrong if you don't got the money. Overstation. It's about 5 million people on probation. That's 66% of the world that's enslaved in right here on our very pavement. Land of the brave. I call it the land of shame. Disgrace that I feel like I represented, a land of pain. I always thought there was going to be a hope for change, but I come to find out history is just the same. We are murderers, deceivers, and greed is our potion. You strip the good away from people with one swift motion. Never taking blame for ourselves is just constant excuses. While the facts were on the table, you still feel clueless. Look at our history and discover what extent of wonders we choose for power to come under. From annihilating the natives to inhabiting the slaves in